Hey guys, just wanted to share something with you today that it's not strictly fantasy related, but it is kind of adjacent. If you're anything like me, and I think a lot of fantasy players are, you probably like statistics related to rugby, and that's basically what this project is. It's a bunch of Super Rugby statistics all in one place and one sort of page that's fast and easy to get access to everything without sort of clicking around. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else out there sort of like this, which is kind of what drove me to make this. So let me just sort of zoom in a bit there so you can get a better sort of view. And yeah, so there's a few components to this thing. You can see at the top here we've got player stats, team stats, match stats, something for referees, and a substitutions page as well. We'll get to those a bit later, but as you can see here, this is sort of the player stats page. It starts off on the key stats area where you sort of, just got some standard stuff you'll probably find anywhere: defenders beaten, line breaks, that sort of thing. Like we can see Fernando leading the line breaks at the moment, leading the meters carried. And you've got a whole bunch of different tabs here though, right? So, attack stats, defense stats, discipline, stuff to do with penalties, a little bit of set piece stuff here. For individual players, I only have stats for lineouts, stolen, Warner Duns leading at the moment. You'll also find some stats here that I've kind of put in myself, like per minute stats, right? This is kind of one of the reasons I created this project. It's really, I mean, you can't even find stats anywhere as far as I can tell for minutes played by players in this competition. So I've kind of had to just grab all the data from every single match and get the time players kind of went on and off the bench, stuff like that. And yeah, I think I have a pretty accurate count for minutes played by every player in the competition. It doesn't include cards. It also accounts for playtime that goes past halftime, that goes past full time. Although it doesn't quite account for extra time at the moment. Bear in mind, this thing, it is a little bit buggy. You might find some minor inconsistencies with statistics. Nothing that should be, massively off, but you might find something that's like, it's like 1% off, or there's like a rounding error. There's also some stats missing from some places just because of the data sources. Like, I don't have access to Opta or any of those sort of professional stats resources, right? I'm just taking stuff that's publicly available and kind of just converting it into statistics. But anyway, yeah, I was talking about this sort of per minute page. This is something that just sort of lets you compare players apples to apples, right? Like, it's easy to look and see, like, TK Howden, he's got the most tackles in the competition. That's great, but players that dominate stats like that on a season basis, it's, you get some players that don't play the whole season. They might get injured for a few games. They're coming off the bench or whatever. But this per minute thing, it lets you kind of look at guys on a apples to apples, minutes to minute basis, right? So we can, see like who's got the most defenders beaten per minute. And of course it is David Nawa. He's played a lot of minutes, 726, but yeah, he's still the guy who's just bumping people off more than anybody. No surprises there. But then look, I mean, Traven Pritchard, this is the guy who's been coming off the bench, 216 minutes. I mean, he's right up there as well, right? Meters, carries, defenders beaten. You can see this sort of color scale. Players that have this sort of bright green, that means that they're near the top of the list. And players that are sort of like, as you see as we scroll down, it goes down to like yellow to light red, and then eventually it becomes like a bright red for players who are near the bottom. So that's how the color scale works. Got this per carry tab here as well, where you can see like defenders beaten per carry. So like 85% of the time when they decide to carry, they're beating someone. This is in the case of Trayvon Pritchard. You got other stats here. Meters per carry as well, post contact meters per carry, chance that they get a line break when they decide to carry. And yeah, there's some names up here you wouldn't expect, right? Like Finn Hurley, Kuravoli, but I mean, these are guys who haven't had a lot of game time. Small sample size here, only you can see 3 carries, 10 carries. But you know, you get down to guys who carry a bit more. Tavita Offa, Karen Taumoe Falau. I mean, we know how dangerous this guy is, right? 26 quarter of the time when he carries, he's generating a line break and carries per touch as well. So this is like how often when a player touches the ball that they decide to make a carry. So I think this stuff can kind of be useful for fantasy players as well, like looking for those diamonds in the rough, because again, inside fantasy, the stats that we're looking at, it's sort of like on a per game basis, right? And you get guys who might be coming off the bench a lot of the time. They're not getting starts all the time, but then when the time comes that they do get a start, it can be hard to tell, you know, if they're really going to be that good if you're just relying on the stats inside fantasy. So this is kind of something that can help with that, right? You can look at this and see guys who have some pretty impressive stats, and you know, take a chance on them when they get a start in fantasy. But another thing you can do here is actually, if you want to compare players, just click on these pins on the left hand side of the player names, and that'll just they'll just keep them at the top of the screen. Like no matter what you do, if you know, arrange things by certain columns or whatever, they'll just stay there up the top, so you can flick through these tabs and just compare the players. And another thing you can do as well is there's filters up here. So, you know, let's say we just want to look at hookers, right? Which hookers beating the most defenders? It's Tongi Tama, George Bell, or I don't know, you can select multiple categories as well. So scrum halves, fly halves, line breaks, you know, look at conversions or whatever. Like fully flexible. You can combine with the team filters as well. Like you know, let's look at all of the Chiefs, like entire back row, and you know, who's making the most carries? It's Jacobson. Who's got the best tackle percentage? It's Jacobson. Like, you know, mix and match those all you want. And another thing you have as well is this columns button here, and this just has all the columns I have available. You can create your own sort of custom view here, right? So, you know, put in like the attacking stats you like, chuck in a couple of defensive stats like turnovers and tackles, penalties conceded, and you know, chuck their minutes in there and some per minute stats as well, or some carry stats. And yeah, down here you're just going to have all of those columns, and you can do whatever you like with those. It's not just all about player stats as well. We've got this teams page here. You can click this up in the top left, and yeah, this just gives you all kinds of team stats. Like on the key stats here, we got ruck turnovers lost. Let's look at this. Number one offender, the Crusaders, 43 ruck turnovers lost, highest out of any team. Most clean breaks, Chiefs, and then Hurricanes, 22 entries, 121 for the season for the Canes, but only 3.3 points conversion for each of those entries, right? So we can see Blues and Crusaders, they're the ones who are actually the most dangerous in that 22 area when they get down there. Restarts 1, ruck speed 0 to 3 seconds. Interestingly, that Waratahs are all the way up there. They do quite often get lightning fast ball. Scrum percentage win, Crusaders leading there, Highlanders in third. Not a surprise, that is one thing they got going for them. Average line out win though, sorry, I guess you guys can't quite see that one. There you go. It's surprisingly, Highlanders aren't at the bottom. It is in fact the Fijian and Drua. But yeah, you got more tabs here though. You can go to attack, you'll get the full ruck speed stats. Oh, there's this column here that I made. I like this one. Ratio of tries by forwards compared to tries through the backs. And yeah, interesting stuff here, right? We can see here, Brumbies, a lot of their tries coming through forwards, 26 against 24. The Blues, another team we kind of associate with forwards tries, they do still actually get more tries in the backs. And with the Force as well, again, more tries through the forwards than with the backs. And then you can see sort of for other New Zealand teams, yeah, you're just getting most tries coming through the backs rather than the forwards. Although interesting with the Enduro, evenly balanced as well, 14 over 14. But yeah, defensive stats, you know, total turnovers lost 200 against the Crusaders. I mean, yeah, those turnovers really were killing them, at least in the front half of the season. Tackle offload allowed, Moana Pacifica, line breaks conceded, 100 total for the season. Yeah, ruck turnovers lost. And I mean, penalties, it's kind of interesting, right? You can see I've put in these average columns because, you know, not every team has played the same amount of games, right? So you can come over here and look at penalties conceded. The most it's Blues for the season, 105. But if you look at it as an average, because the Blues have played that extra game, it's actually the Force who have been the most penalized team, right? 10 penalties a game. Compare that to the Hurricanes and Crusaders at the bottom down here, 8.3 and 8.5 per game. So and there's also penalties awarded as well. This is another column that I sort of come up with myself, which I thought is kind of interesting. Which teams are drawing the most penalties in their favor? And funnily enough, it's the Highlanders who are ahead by miles. And the only reason I can think this is the case is because of their scrum, right? Like their scrum's the one thing that they've got going for them this year, and that's the one thing that can draw penalties for them. But kind of crazy that, yeah, they've been awarded 20 more penalties than anybody else, and they're still kind of struggling. And yeah, you got some set piece stats here. I mean, a lot of this was sort of on key stats. Some kicking stats, match stats here is kind of just some random stuff. I mean, this isn't a complete project, so I haven't kind of added in all the stats I want, and I haven't kind of arranged them all in the order that I want. That's kind of something that'll happen down the line. But yeah, like the whole idea is just to put everything into one place, even if it's a bit messy, even if it's not perfect. And I still find it kind of useful. But yeah, interesting stuff here. We got like tries for and tries against, as well as averages. Like we can see Hurricanes, they're scoring 6.2 tries a game on average, which is crazy, and only 2.6 tries against them. You can see Moana at the other end though, basically the complete inverse. 3 tries a game in their favor, 6.5 tries against. Yeah, this average position and territory, I mean, the kind of interesting thing here, I guess, just looking at this, you can see the Force, they dominate territory and possession, averaging 52 and 53 respectively. And I mean, it's not surprising. Like we know how the Force like to play. They're very patient. They like to just hold on to the ball. They'll grind away. They don't give up heaps of turnovers, and they're just very patient. And we kind of saw the quintessential example of that against the Waratahs in this last round just gone, and it probably moved them to the top for both of these stats, which I find quite funny. Anyway, we also got the matches tab up here, and this is where you can sort of just, you know, come in and look at individual matches. And this is round 1, Highlanders vs Crusaders. You got a player stats tab as well if you want to search the players, and you got this drop down box here if you just want to find a specific match for one team. Hurricanes, you know, round 12 against the Crusaders, round 11 against the Brumbies. Pretty straightforward stuff there. Referees, this is another one I've come up with. I don't think this exists anywhere else, but I just made this because I was really curious. Like with the referees, average penalties a game, highest Todd Petrie, 21.3 penalties a game. Only ref 3 matches though, but I mean Paul Williams, he's ref quite a few, 6 matches just behind him, 20.2 penalties a game. At the opposite end of the scale, Marcus Plough, only 13.3 penalties a game. Man, that's a huge disparity when you think about it. When you got refs up here at like 2021, and then you got one down here at 13.3. Like, he's only ref 3 matches, but yeah, that's such a big disparity, right? James Dolman, he's the next one a bit higher up at 16.2, refereeing 8 matches. And I've done the same thing with cards as well. Who is the cardiest referee? It is Geordie Way, 1.4 cards a game. And then at the other end though, Angus Gardner and Ben O'Keefe, they're your least cardiest referees. Especially Angus Gardner, 0.6 a game. So yeah, some interesting stuff there. And then finally we have the substitutions tab. But yeah, this is something that I think might be useful to fantasy players more than anybody else. But basically what you can do in here is you can come in, you can search for a player like, I don't know, let's look at Ekuasi here. And it just shows you when they've been subbed off and when they've been subbed on. It doesn't look like Ekuasi's ever been subbed on. So yeah, let's look at Vautulatu, for example. Only subbed off once in round 1. That must be when he got a start. And then he's been subbed in all these other rounds, pretty much exclusively for Harry Wilson, a couple of times for Joe Bryle. And basically this thing can just sort of, if you're playing in fantasy, sometimes it can be kind of hard to work out like who's gonna be subbed for who. And yeah, having something like this, it can just sort of, you can come in and you can search a player. Like, you know, with the Hurricanes, it's always kind of tricky, right? So we got Karifi here, 8 appearances, been subbed off 3 times, subbed on 1 time. And yeah, those handful of times he got subbed off, he went off for Braden Yossi a couple of times, Brad Shields once. When he got subbed on 1 time, he replaced Yossi. Average minute gets subbed off, 58. This one game when he got subbed on, 48. Like, you can't necessarily draw hard conclusions from these things, but it does give you a picture that's kind of hard to get otherwise, right? You can just see immediately who they've replaced or who's replaced them just in one place. And fortunately, these buttons don't work at the moment. Like I said, there's still bugs. I don't know how to fix that, but yeah, Trayvon Pritchard, right? Like, he's been subbed on multiple times. Tim Ryan, Dale Gunner, like that's always kind of messy with the backs, right? Because it depends. There's not that many backs on the bench, but the other thing here is, like, you start off on the season summary tab. There is also this match browser tab. And yeah, you can just come in here and look at individual games and zoom out a bit. And yeah, you can see the actual movements on and off the bench, right? Like if you sort of want to just sanity check something that you sort of saw on this tab back here, you can come in here and yeah, this thing kind of interprets who got replaced by who, based on the minute that they kind of went on and came off by. But yeah, it's kind of dealing with like HIAs and blood bins as well. So that can kind of throw things off sometimes. That's why there's this thing that says high. This is like a confidence marker that kind of is like an algorithm that's trying to work out, if this is definitely the sub that happened. But otherwise, you can go to this lineups tab here. And this should just show you the minute when players sort of came on and left the field, so that you can kind of sanity check things manually yourself if there's something that doesn't look right on the screen here. Anyway, guys, just thought I would share that. Not sure if it's something that you guys are interested in or would find useful, but it's something I basically have just been putting together for myself. But I've put a link in the description to a spot where I've uploaded it and have shared it. So yeah, if you guys are interested in stats like I am, you can take a look at it. And if you've got any suggestions or columns you'd like to see added based on things you think would be useful, I'm happy to go ahead and add them. But yeah, just remember as well, there are some inconsistencies, some bugs, some stats that don't get tracked. Like I'm only getting lineout stolen for lock specifically, not for back rowers, although you can kind of compare their lineouts one to their lineout takes, and the difference is probably going to be lineout steals. So there's stuff like that, right? And you can let me know about it as well. But yeah, some stuff I can't necessarily do anything about, and as long as there isn't like big stats errors, I'm kind of not too bothered either. But yeah, happy to take your feedback on how to improve this thing or things to add that you think would be useful. Anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think, and yeah, I'll catch you a bit later for the next best picks video. See you then.